Hello, juicy listeners. Welcome to the Radical Pleasure Revolution podcast. I am your fabulously delicious host, Dr. Emma, also known as Emma Gone Rogue on the social medias. I'm a clinical sexologist and sexual empowerment coach with a PhD in human sexuality and over 10 years of professional experience educating, advocating, and creating deeply healing and radically empowering spaces for people's sexual liberation. It's truly my life's purpose and passion. This podcast is for you if you want to learn how to embrace your authentic sexuality, expand your pleasure potential, and unleash your power in the bedroom and beyond. I'll be sharing revolutionary perspectives and conversations on topics including sex, sexuality, pleasure, bodies, relationships, self-love, healing, empowerment, and more, all from a uniquely thought-provoking intersectional sexological framework that I use professionally with clients and students, as well as in my personal life and relationships. The thoughts and perspectives I share in this podcast are coming from my lived experiences as a white, queer, yet straight-passing, plus-sized, cis-privileged woman and non-binary femme, and a person who's a survivor with chronic mental and physical health challenges. I navigate the world with a lot of privilege and varying degrees of marginalization. Being a part of the revolution in a radical way is not something I take lightly, and I'm always seeking to do better and grow. So if I ever fuck up or say something harmful, I am genuinely open to your feedback and learning how I and all of us can keep doing better. I'm so excited to share, connect, and truly expand with you all on this podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on how you can connect directly with me and my work if you're interested in going even deeper. Each season is going to have its own flavor and style, so stick around and enjoy the ever-evolving journey with me. Let's do it. Hello, radical pleasure babes, pleasure revolutionaries. We are bringing the podcast back. Yay! That is my first announcement. As you all know from season 1, I was pregnant with my little Magic, who has since been born. Actually, I don't even know if you all know that my baby that I had December 15th, his name is Magic. So, had a baby. Was wanting so badly to come back to this podcast. And mom life, holy schmoly. That was a thing. Talk about sleep deprivation, trying to find pleasure in the 4th trimester of parenthood. Thankfully, I had lots of support, which shout out to Gigi, my mom, Magic's grandma, who has pretty much moved in with me to help take care of Magic. And so there's like a little pleasure tip right there of like, holy moly, lean into support. Support changes everything. Support is, in my world, a form of pleasure. It's a form of getting your needs met, making space for more pleasure. I think, being supported in everything that I do, it makes it less lonely. You're not just trying to do it all by yourself, but also it just feels good. I think that's also part of this like radical pleasure revolution that we were talking about of like, how do we learn how to receive more? How do we kind of lean into that feminine side, and not feminine as a gendered thing, but like, how do we lean into that receptive energy and surrender and open up and let ourselves be supported? It is way easier said than done. Even with, all the support that I have, I catch myself often like not fully accepting the support, not fully allowing myself to like just take the support. And that's an edge that I've been leaning in. myself during this little off season from the podcast. And so I wanted to just come on today and kick off this freaking podcast again, because it is time for the Radical Pleasure Revolution podcast to continue. And I wanted to give you all a little update of what I've been up to, what I've been doing, what the Radical Pleasure Revolution is, what our next steps are. My goal, my dream, my vision for what this next season was going to be was we were going to have Sinead, who is one of my longtime friends. She's been in my coaching program. She's been a one-on-one client of mine. She's awesome. She is a wonderful mom herself, an amazing artist, hilarious human being. And she and I, my original vision was for she and I to do season 2 together and sort of talk about all the work that we've done and how that intersects with and relates to all the topics that we unpacked in season 1. But as we know, life just, laughs at our plans. And she moved back to Long Island, New York, which is awesome. She got a house. She also had a baby. And, she had a baby right when the pandemic started, but she has 2 kids, and, life was just, not allowing us 2 moms to get together. And so those dreams and wishes for Sinead to be on the podcast, they will be in the future. I have no doubt that she will be on this podcast with us. You all will get to experience her magic sometime soon in the future, I hope. I know she'll be on. We don't know how soon it is. I shouldn't say soon. But that was my original plan. And again, we're surrendering to what we needed to get done. And so I was missing you all, and we needed to get back to these conversations, back to this revolution of really bringing pleasure into every area of our life, whether that's parenting or health or business, our relationship, our sex life, really anything, our spirituality. Pleasure can be such a medicine. And so on this break, I'm not even kidding you, I've had so many ideas, so many times where I was like, I just want to go record an episode and talk to you all again. And it just was taking forever because, again, like I said, parenthood, I had a really intense 43-hour birth, which there will be an episode of the birth story. At the very least, Brian and I, my husband and I, will share the story. I'm hoping that my mom, Gigi, Grandma, will join us for that episode too, because she was there. And it's really interesting to hear the multiple perspectives of that birth story. And so I had a 43-hour birth. And then, the 4th trimester just was getting a good night's sleep. Didn't happen for a while. And, maybe like good night's sleep maybe still hasn't totally happened. Those mama bear hormones are wild. I remember the first time Magic slept like 7 hours straight. He had never slept more than like 3 or 4 hours, and he goes 7 hours, and all of us were just like sitting watching the baby monitor, being like, is he breathing? What's going on? So even when the baby was sleeping, I was not always sleeping, which I don't understand how people fully followed that advice. When the baby sleeps, mom sleeps, or the parents need to be sleeping. I was like, easier said than done. I wish I could just go to sleep every time that the baby was asleep. So sleep deprivation was a thing. I've also been dealing with an interesting sort of spiral of health issues, which, I'm probably going to share more about on here and share with you all because you might resonate with it. I think there's a little bit of an edge for me. It's a little bit, I don't know, nerve-wracking or embarrassing, and I have to face my own internalized shame and judgments and even like a little bit of my own ableism around sharing my health issues. It's not easy to just really share those things when your body and your health is going on. I think in this culture, we've been taught that like, oh, medical stuff is private and, HIPAA and all that stuff. And so, and I think also for me, my health issues are tied into the size of my body and my body image challenges that I've had to navigate and continue to navigate, especially postpartum. And so, there's all of these things that are coming up as I think about sharing with you all what I've really been going through since, the last season wrapped up. And, it's an edge that I'm both excited and terrified to lean into and to open up to you all more about because, yeah, it can be a tender spot. It can be a tender topic to share about our health struggles in a society, especially like a society that has such intense like systems of oppression around body sizes, around, ability and productivity and like even like desirability and attraction and how all of those things intersect. And so, yeah, my brain just kind of goes all these places about share it. It would be so great. And then, no, don't you dare share it. It'll be so scary. People will say mean, horrible things. The internet is full of trolls and nasty people. And one thing about this experiment that I really am actually excited about and kind of, leaning into my own edge of vulnerability and sharing more and more personal stuff as well as the, educational stuff and, the radical pleasure revolution stuff, is that there is a big part of me that actually believes when you allow your community to embrace you and celebrate you and have your back, when you actually do the work to sort of heal those community wounds, and whether they're like sisterhood wounds or community wounds or whatever, it can be a really beautiful and healing experience. And there's a part of me, it's almost like that higher self, or like that wise one in me is like, actually lean in, say the things, be more you, be more visible, be more vulnerable. Like Brene Brown says, that takes bravery and courage. And let your community show you that they love you, that they've got your back. And that's easier said than done. Like, I feel a little nauseous even just saying all of this out loud and thinking of the idea of being like, oh my gosh, what if I really told them the struggles that I've been having? And part of that too is also like, I think sometimes we get this idea that if you, are supposed to be a coach or a counselor, or a therapist, or a healer, or somebody with a PhD, whatever that really even means, like you're supposed to have some like knowledge, and that knowledge is supposed to make you perfect. And like this idea of perfection is like, again, all the systems of oppression, like white supremacy is perfectionism and patriarchy is perfectionism, all of those things. And I have to not buy into that. I have to allow my own humanity to come out and to be seen and to be witnessed. And so I think that was also an edge that I was having to really confront during this time off, during this, like, since the end of the first season until now, of can we show up for this podcast, for the fucking radical pleasure revolution, way bigger than just this podcast, but actually like the mission and the work that I feel like I was brought into human form to do, like my soul's calling. Can you allow yourself to do it and not be perfect, not be flawless, not be in perfect health, not, can you do it with spit up in your hair and, like old clothes that haven't changed in a while, and maybe haven't brushed your teeth or whatever, like, can you share the hard stuff? Can you share the things that aren't just these concepts? And so that was an edge that I was working through, because again, there were so many times I wanted to record an episode, but it was like, if I didn't have the perfect condition or the right things written out to say to you all, I was hesitating. And so we're diving in this season. It's going to be messy. It's going to be rambly. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be packed with so much value and so much goodness that I really hope and I believe, like, in doing this movement, this radical pleasure revolution movement, I believe in doing it justice. And so we're just going to show up. We're going to trust that it's enough. And again, there's like that enoughness. We're going to trust that the people that you all listening, that whenever you tune in, you are getting exactly what you need. And it doesn't have to be all bells and whistles and, fluffy, perfect stuff. It's like real life. It's like, all of a sudden the This Is Us came to mind, and shout out to This Is Us. Shout out to any of you who watch This Is Us. That's another thing I was doing on the break, was watching a lot of This Is Us. And it was just so cathartic. I love that show. Highly recommend it, especially if you want to tap into your emotions. So yeah. Let's see, what else have I been up to? Let me give you a little update about Magic. First of all, Magic is a freaking cutie. Oh my gosh. You can check out my Instagram. I post pictures of him from time to time. He is a little cutie nugget. He's got 2 teeth fully out right now, and he bit me yesterday. It's hilarious. I had like bite marks on my arm all day. His top 2 teeth are coming in, which is also cute. The whole teething thing, though, not as cute. Teething is a bummer. Definitely messes with sleep. More stuff for sleep deprivation. And yeah, he's standing, he's walking, he's not walking without support. Oh my gosh, he's only 8 months old, but he's walking super fast with support. He's crawling, he laughs. He definitely gets more feisty and emotional now. When he wants something, he's so determined, and like he has such a strong will. Like, when he wants something, and if he can't have it, whoo, man, he's in this phase where he lets you know. Not for like a long time. He's not like a cry, fussy baby, but he's like an expressive baby. And definitely gets that from me. I was a stubborn, willful, like ball busting baby myself. So the line is like, one thing we're looking at is like, how do we allow these beautiful human qualities and not like diminish his spirit or like crush him, but also keep him safe and alive. Like, sorry, I know you really want the knife, but you really can't have it. So it's something my mom actually used to say about me, was she'd be like, oh gosh, there were moments where I would just try to remind myself, like, these qualities will be great in Emma when she's a grown woman. But man, when they're in a baby or in a child, it's like, ooh, it's hard. And, that is something too I'm thinking about with parenting. Like, how do we do parenting differently? How do we really honor my child's humanity? Because I think children, so often, that's another area of like, there's this major power dynamic going on between parent and child, and that power dynamic gets abused so much, I think, in our culture. And it's really interesting and challenging to navigate and to unpack that, and to really try to do parenting a little differently, and also do parenting with pleasure, with enoughness. Another piece of parenting that's coming up now that I'm reflecting on what I've been doing, is how the identity of motherhood and identity of being a mom has also like shifted and attempted to change my identity around like my sexual identity and my sexuality. And I've definitely had moments where I felt like when I'm in the identity of mother, I feel very desexualized, which is interesting. It's not even necessarily that Brian is doing anything or doing anything different. It's my own internalized beliefs around like mothers and how they're supposed to be, these like nurturing people, and like sexuality makes them, I don't know, not as motherly and not as good and not as nurturing or something like that. And so it's been this interesting process too, to really notice those things coming up and trying to affect my own identity and my own experience of pleasure and sexuality in my body, of like, no, your body is not for your own pleasure anymore. Your body is to feed your baby. Your body is to hold your baby and child. And my body is also totally different. Like, it's a completely different size and shape now. And that has been also a total kind of like mind fuck around my sexuality and my sexual expression. Also having, either my mom or my mother-in-law in our home has also had an interesting impact on my sexual experiences, my sexuality, my sexual expression. And so all of these interesting things are going on. And one thing that I think is important to name and to sort of like touch on too is like, some of the work that I've done is like not making a story around this, not making any of this wrong, not like freaking out and being like, oh, something's wrong because I'm starting to like feel desexualized now that I'm a mother, or, like because sex with my partner, it looks different when we have people living in our house versus when we don't. Like, I could spin out and start making a story like, oh, we have relationship problems, or, oh, I'm having, issues around sex and sexuality. But actually, in my experience, and this has taken some time and some work, but it's just really letting all of it be okay, like full permission for me to have these questions, for me to have these fears and these feelings, and to not make them wrong. They're just simply a season. They're just simply a part of the constant evolution of our relationships with our body, with our partners, with ourselves, our sexuality, the constant evolution of our sexual expression and all the things. And it doesn't mean anything's broken. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. And I think that right there, that nugget, like applying that to your own situations, trying that on and seeing how that feels of like, am I making myself wrong for something that's just totally fucking human? And normal. Like so much of what people experience in sexuality is so much more normal. Again, whatever that really means, normal than they think. And this like chasing normalcy creates so many issues for people instead of surrendering to the season that you're in and in your relationship, in your sexuality, in your parenting, in whatever. And just surrender to it, learn from it, see what it has for you, see what it's trying to show you, and come back to the core principles of pleasure, of radical self-love, and of like the present moment and your healing and your empowerment. And that will, I think, help support you through it. And that's not to like minimize or like try to bypass genuine issues that absolutely come up. But also when you have genuine issues that you want to work on or you want to shift or you want to change or whatever, you can hold that truth. You can hold that desire for something to shift, for something to improve, for something to change. And at the same time, here's that sexological perspective. At the same time, you can also hold the truth that you're not broken, that nothing's wrong with you, that you're worthy, that you're enough, even in this current state that you're maybe not like super happy with. You're still enough. And so taking those little tokens and wisdom and messages, if they serve you, if they feel good, take them. If they don't, obviously leave them. And that's the case for anything that happens in this podcast. Take what you want, leave the rest, and just, center pleasure, center your humanity. So I'm trying to think if there's any other updates for you all. Personal life wise, again, here I am. I'm like avoiding some of the health stuff that I I tell you about. But yeah, I think that's enough for the personal stuff for now. Business wise, it was wonderful. We ran a 30-day pleasure challenge in January, which was awesome. It was every day there was like a quick 1 to 5 minute like activity that I shared with you all to inspire you to get into pleasure. And it was a variety of things of like a breast massage or go and take some deep breaths out in nature or, wear your favorite lipstick, give yourself or a partner a face caress. There was just such a variety of things from nourishing pleasure to sensual pleasure to erotic pleasure shared on that challenge. And it was awesome and juicy. It was exactly what I needed to kick off the new year. It's exactly what I needed with a freaking newborn. Like he was born December 15th. So it was like, oh, I needed it. So we ran that pleasure challenge. It's amazing, and we're probably going to run it again. So keep your eyes out for that. Then what did we do? Then for February, we sold an amazing ebook called Couples Practices for Better Sex and Deeper Intimacy, which you can always buy on my website, which is also actually currently included in a special couples bundle that is on sale right now as well. That is also on my website. And I will share more about the bundle here in a minute. But we sold this ebook and they were like 29 amazing practices. They were the practices that I use with my couple clients to take them through a journey that completely transforms their intimacy through communication, building trust, doing things like erotic mapping, and really tapping back into the present moment and our pleasure and our senses. A lot of the concepts that Masters and Johnson developed in their Sensate Focus. These are also practices that I've learned from both my Vita Sex, Love, and Relationship Coaching certification, in addition to the surrogate partner therapy training that I did as well. And so these practices were amazing. People loved the book for Valentine's Day. It was a great gift for their hobbies. It was, great for date night. And those practices done in sequence, literally, I've seen time and time again, completely transform the way couples approach sex, approach pleasure, approach intimacy, their bodies, connecting, communicating, all that stuff. Really amazing. And then, let's see, March. I'm not sure what we did in March. Maybe we were just kind of transitioning, kind of connecting back. That's right. In March, I was still kind of realizing like, coming back from pregnancy so soon was feeling a little bit challenging. So we kind of just slowed down, connected with community. And then we launched the Queen Method Foundationals group coaching program, which is a phenomenal 16-week program where you learn the 8 foundational principles of the Queen Method. This is all about healing and empowerment through pleasure, through radical self-love, through embodiment, through breath work, stuff like that. And that's currently going on. We've got a lovely cohort who's working their way through the Queen Method journey and queening the fuck up. And so that was an amazing group coaching offer that we have going on. And now here we are in August, and we opened doors officially to the School of Radical Pleasure. So the School of Radical Pleasure is open, and the first class that we are teaching was couples connection practices for deeper intimacy. Different than the ebook in that the ebook is a lot more focused on building a foundation for eroticism, for intimacy, for pleasure exchange, whereas the masterclass is really it's 11 simple but profound practices that really help you connect to your partner. So this is like laying the foundation of a partnership. These practices included I think actually it was a fears, desires, loves practice, which I actually share with you in season 1 of the podcast. So if you wanted to go check that practice out, you can in either the masterclass, which I highly recommend, or on season 1. I think it was in the relationship episode. I'm not totally sure, but I'm pretty sure in the relationship episode of season 1, I shared that practice. But 11 practices. The first practice was fears, desires, loves. The second practice is the safety and security ritual. The third practice is an eye-gazing exercise. The fourth practice is a heart breathing exercise. The fifth practice is a spooning breathwork exercise. The sixth practice is the What Do You Love About Me practice, which I love. 7th is May I Will You, which is also May I Will You will change your freaking life. I love, love, love teaching this practice to clients because when they start implementing it in their relationship, they're like, holy shit. It can be as simple as asking, may I or will you, and then following the pleasure and following your own pleasure. You're not there to give and like to push or to force your partner into pleasure. Everybody takes care of their own pleasure and they can ask the may I will you. It's an amazing practice. Get the masterclass. Totally will change that practice alone will totally change everything. There's a trust walk in there. There's a face caress practice, an affirmations shower, which is really the affirmation shower you can do with yourself in the mirror. But also doing it with a partner is such a rich way to really kind of like fill up your love tank, like the good tank. Like obviously in relationships there are challenges, but if you're spending more time than not in like the good, connected, yummy, I like you, I love you zone, that is where we want to be. And affirmation showers are such a great way to do that. And then the last practice is a wild freedom practice, which is like a really playful, silly practice that really helps you and your partner kind of cut through the shame. Like they're honestly, even in long-term relationships, there is so much shame and when couples really start to look at what am I hiding, what am I afraid to really like express or do, and this really comes up in sex because a lot of us are trying to be perfect. We're trying to like we're trying to like follow the standard sexual script that we're all brainwashed and conditioned with, and we're not actually tapping into like our wild, free sexual selves, which is where the best orgasms happen, people. It's where all the good stuff happens. So the wild freedom practice is really fun and playful and silly, and it will help you have better orgasms as well. So definitely check out the masterclass. Yeah, that you can find the link in the show notes. It will be there right now for the month of August 2021. It is 50% off. So if you get it by August 31st, you're saving a big buck. And it is bundled right now. I bundle it with the ebook with the 29 sensual and erotic practices, which together, that is like such a juicy gift. You can get the bundle, which is also discounted right now as well, which same link as the one in the show notes. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to, and I'm so glad to be back. I'm really excited. We're going to be doing this podcast, at least for the foreseeable future. We're going to be doing most of the episodes live on my Instagram. My Instagram is Emma_gone_rogue. Emma Gone Rogue, also link in the show notes. But we will be doing these podcast episodes live on Instagram on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. The live episodes, if we're being really honest, because I do have a baby here, I might be a few minutes late, but that's okay. We're all good with that, I hope. But yeah, I would love to invite you all to follow me there, join these lives, so that we can interact. You can ask questions. We can, have a lot of fun doing this. So that is sort of what I've been up to, what we're moving forward in. Again, check out the masterclass. It really is such a beautiful way. Again, this is for couples who are in a rut. Absolutely. Like, these practices can really help you reconnect and reestablish that foundation of connection, of trust, of vulnerability, of intimacy with each other. This is also great for new couples who want to just start their relationship off right, doing things that will set them up for the long run. This is great for couples who've been in the game a while and they just know that we constantly have to do the work to keep that spark going, it's like a garden. Like, your relationship is a garden, and this masterclass is like a beautiful fertilizer with sunshine and fresh rain. And for those of you, again, who've been in a relationship for a while, you know that it's like, you've got to maintain it. You got to maintain the garden. Otherwise, the weeds and the pests and all the shit will take over. And so this masterclass is great for that. This is also if you don't have a partner, or you have a partner who you're like, my partner will not do any of these practices. Question that story you're telling yourself a little bit, because I have managed to get my husband to do them, who, he was a college football player, one of the most not emotional, connecty kind of, spiritual people out there. He also was, like, into video games, and he's from Nigeria. Like, I'm telling you, this man is not the type of person who you think would ever do these practices. And he has done them. And part of it is because this is the advice I want to tell you. If you're in that situation where you're afraid your partner will not be into these practices, but you're kind of like, I would love to do that. Listen in. Get the masterclass. Learn these practices. And as you step into that energy, there's an amazing thing that happens where you can invite your partner in as like this initiatrix, and these practices will help you do that. And I think it's still, especially with the discount, but even without, it is well worth if you're interested in them, to get them and to learn them yourself, and to just see if your partner will be magnetized into them, because that has been my experience. I've seen it happen with other clients as well. And of course, if you need support, if that's like an issue, get on my wait list as well. That link will also be in the show notes. So you can have support reconnecting with your babes. And if you're single too, this is a great thing to get for when that special someone shows up. And again, you can start your relationship off right. So I really feel like this is like for anybody who feels called to it, regardless of their relationship situation. It is for you. You're being called to it for a reason. Check it out for sure. So yeah, I'm excited to be back with you all. That's all I've got for this, like, welcome back. We're coming back. We're coming back messy. We're coming back wild. And yeah, they're coming back as a totally new person. Like the pre-mom Emma, unfortunately, she died. I will never be a not mom again. And so we've got some new energy, some new wisdom in the house. And I'm excited to be on this journey with you all. All right. I love you, radical pleasure revolutionaries. Thank you, magical beings, for tuning in and being a part of the Radical Pleasure Revolution with me. It's truly a collective movement we're part of. Be sure to rate, subscribe, leave a review, and share. It really helps this movement grow, and I so appreciate it. And finally, just a reminder to check out the show notes for any links referenced in this episode, as well as info on how you can connect with me and my work if you're interested in going deeper or wanting my personalized and professional support around sex, love, and relationships. I work one-on-one with individuals, couples, and moresomes, as well as offer transformational group coaching programs and educational DIY courses. So don't be shy. I'm so committed to your healing, empowerment, and liberation, and I'm only a couple clicks away. Until next time, XOXO.